How's it going, everyone? My name's Al, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. I've been wanting to do this for a while and I'm finally getting to it. This is not me actually playing, although I can understand if you're a little bit confused. It looks about this. I'm joking, this does not look at all like me. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a little bit of a guide, a StarCraft 2 build order guide, talking about some of the strategies and things. So today we're starting off with Zerg, and who better to get a build order from than Serral. So up on the screen you can also see that I have the build order displayed on the screen, and I'll also put that in the description. I think I can, so that you can have a look at that too. Now, a couple of things. I'm going to pause here. It's going to be a pause and go the whole time. Couple of things. If you have never seen a new guide, a build guide, you're new to StarCraft, the build order works. The numbers is the supply you need to be on when you are making those things. Anything in between, if you wonder like how's the number getting bigger, that's generally workers, so that's your drones. For this one in the early game I have put out when Serral is making Zerglings and Overlords. As the game progresses you make those when you need to. You know, when you're playing Zerg, with each round of Zerglings that you make, you'll make a Overlord, or each round of drones you'll make an Overlord, that kind of thing. So as the game progresses, you know, you got to be aware of that. So far we have Serral that has made his first Overlord, and he is now at 17 supply going for his gas. Okay, and you'll see as he's making a building, obviously as Zerg, the supply goes down again. So 17 gas and then 17 pools. So this is a pool first build from Serral. I chose this one because it is a nice safe build. It should keep you protected against a lot of things that could happen in the early game. Immediately as soon as the gas finishes, you throw in all three workers in there. Serral then rallies his worker to the low ground to make his second at 18 supply. Okay, so that's the natural expansion. Yeah, Overlords, you need to be sending them across the map, having a good scout around, and Serral obviously very active with his. Obviously, I hope this is okay having this view. I know to a lot of players that maybe don't play StarCraft so much, it's quite hard to look at. Alright, now, in the build order, you'll see there's an at pool thing. So that means when the pool is finished, like it is now, you immediately make a queen and 4 Zerglings. So in other words, you click the Zergling button twice, because Zerglings come in twos. So there we go. And the drones are still in gas, and we can kind of talk about the reason for that later. As soon as you have 100 gas, you go into that Zergling Speed. And here we see Serral start pulling his drones, or at least he only pulls one out. Yeah, he only pulls one drone out of gas. Okay, that seems straightforward. Those Zerglings, if you can, immediately get them to start looking around the map, having a look to see what your opponent is doing. As soon as the first queen finishes, he immediately goes into a second queen. There's the Reaper. Now obviously if you lose a couple of Zerglings to the Reaper, then your build's going to be a little bit different. I always lose a couple. Even in this game, Serral's lost 2 Zerglings, which is more than he should do. And here for instance we see a couple of drones dying, so that's not ideal. As soon as the hatch finishes, you go into a second queen. Just want to keep, as a Zerg player, especially against Terran, you never really complain about making queens. Serral replenishes the Zerglings he lost, just to make sure that he's got enough to defend his bases. And you want to constantly be making queens. It's never a bad thing, especially if you're floating a couple of minerals. Just start making queens. They're always good to help get your supply down a little bit. Now we're going to see where we're going from here. Again, Overlords, queens. And you can see Serral injects with his first queen, moves it to the front. The second queen, same thing, so that he can start spreading his creep. Here he happily gets rid of the Reapers, so good job for him. A little bit more creep spread, and you see the droning is continuing. He's already sent a worker down to the third, and now, here we go, at 43, he makes his third hatchery. Queens are still going here. There's a little bit of pause on queen production because he is sitting at quite a few. 4 queens so far. And once again, just keep making your Overlords. Just keep making your drones. what is that? 47. He starts putting his drones back into gas. Now, a game of StarCraft isn't set in stone. There is going to be some adjusting. So if you see that the opponent is massing units, you're going to have to make army instead of drones. If not, then yeah. Alright, so in this variation we see Serral's actually scouting around. He was going to make a Roach Warren. Now he's scouting to have a look, is it the right move? And yes, at 55 he places down his Roach Warren. Obviously yours might not look exactly like this, because this is Serral we're talking about. Now there's some harassment, so he has to adjust some things. He's going to start making spore crawlers now, microing with his queen at the back there, trying to outmaneuver the Liberator. I would have lost my queen at this stage, but this is Serral. There's a reason why he's still called the GOAT. He sacrifices an Overlord there for the scout. That's alright. Keep injecting. You need to keep your injects up as much as you can. And now it's a case of microing, defending. The Roach Warren is finished, which is nice. That is not a gas that should be taken, by the way. That's just Serral protecting that drone. And again, just Overlords and Overlords and Overlords. Keeping injecting. Now we see at 64 the Roach Production starts, and at 68 he goes into the Lair. So that's going to be to get the Roach Speed, which is obviously an essential upgrade, the same as Zergling Speed. If you're planning on playing Roaches, you need speed. Movement speed, very important thing in StarCraft 2. That's kind of one of the things that makes Zerg the way they are, that makes the race work, is the fact that the units are so quick. And from this point, things start becoming a little less set in stone, because both players are going to be reacting to each other. So in this case, Serral sees a battle cruiser, he sees a starport. So dodgy stuff is happening. Now he's going to have to make spore crawlers. If you scout your opponent and they're not making, liberators or battle cruisers, you don't need to worry about the spore crawlers. Obviously there's a point where, getting safety spore crawlers is always a good thing, but in this case it's not a necessity if the opponent is not doing what they're doing. Serral's also trying to get rid of that starport that was proxied across the map. And at this point, we see more gases. So I might have missed the third gas, but yeah, at about 86 or so, he goes for third and fourth gas, because Roaches, they cost a little bit of gas. Huge round of Overlords as well as the Evo Chamber. So now he's going to want to start getting upgrades. And that is where my build order list ends, because now again it's reaction. So as we can see, Serral reacts by going for a Spire. You don't need a Spire. You could, if there was not this battle cruiser opener. Ugh, ouch, taking a bit of hits there. You could honestly just make a bunch of Roaches and push across the map, and that I think would have been Serral's plan initially, but he's now adapting. So you'd have to kind of adjust that to your own games as well. Taking a little bit of damage here, which is obviously not great. I'm really hoping, because I was watching through this to obviously set up the build order, I'm really hoping that Serral doesn't lose this. That'll be a bit awkward. It's like, hey, look at the build order from this guy who's really awesome, and he lost. Oopsie. Okay, so you got a couple of Zerglings in there. He is getting some damage done on the other side of the map. And now, once again, defending. So, little useful tip there. If you see Hellions, this is a nice thing to do. Get your queens to block the ramp. Serral sent his drones up the ramp and got a couple of queens here to block it so that the Hellions could not follow, which means that everything here has more time to catch up to those units. And as soon as they're taken care of, he's going to send his drones back. Yeah, there they go. They're already on their way back. Okay, and a safe defense there. Now, have a look. Serral's already got 8 queens. You can never have enough queens. Obviously, there is a upper limit. I don't want to say never. Okay, as soon as you've got the gas, you want to go into Roach Speed. Because of all the aggression, Serral's only going into Roach Speed now when he's got a little bit of time, while making some units as well. But you can see at the 8-minute mark, he's already got 68 workers. That I think is full 3-base saturation. And now he's going for his 4th. Again, these are things you're going to have to feel in your games. He's actually going for Corruptors in this one. I thought he was going to go for Mutalisks, because Serral is that crazy person that likes to go Mutalisks against battle cruisers and Protoss and stuff. Like, Yeah, he gets it right. I wouldn't recommend it. Corruptors, obviously very safe call. Now you don't want to make 20 of them. Serral's going to go for 6, and I think he's going to go for 8. I think that should be the amount that you want. You need to keep your eye on this. Now he knows that Special is continuing to make battle cruisers, so he needs the anti-air. But yeah, once again, I wouldn't go for an amount of like 20 or so, just enough to deal with the battle cruisers, because once the battle cruisers are dealt with, they become a little bit useless. Okay, so just make sure you're not making too many of them. He's going into quite a couple. The nice thing about Corruptors, obviously you can go for Greater Spire and turn them into Broodlords, which you never really say no to having a bunch of Broodlords. So Serral is going for a mech build, yeah. Now that again, something you need to scout. So the fact that Serral's going for this Roach opener is actually pretty decent, because Roaches are good against Bio, but they're better than Ling Bane against mech. So if you're struggling against a mech player, here's a knife with the build order. Once again, as soon as Serral can, he goes for +1 flyer attacks. Unless you are Sue, you always want to get those +1s if you're working with your Corruptors. He also at the same time goes for +1 ranged. Very important. Okay, the only player that gets it right is Sue. For some reason, Sue is allergic to air upgrades. I don't know. But yeah. So, freeform now. Get some damage done here and there. Starts opening up. Moving Roaches around, see if they can get a little bit of damage done. And keeping his eye on what's happening on the other side of the map. Scouting, very important. I think he made just the right amount of Corruptors, I would say. Okay, so here we go. A little bit of a run by here by these Roaches, getting some damage in. Because at this stage, Special is actually up in what am I saying? Even when I'm not playing, they make me like panic. And now he attacks. Okay, so this is 10-minute mark. Oftentimes in later games, 10-minute mark is when we're still macroing up. Now, this is a Neo-Humanity thing. Oh, Yamato Cannons. Because the creep spread is so close to Serral's 4th base, he actually brings his queens into this fight as well. Raptors do take a little bit of damage, and now he has to pull back from that the planetary fortress. Useful tip, if you see a planetary, you've got to know that you can get rid of it. Don't waste your units away into a planetary fortress. They are very strong defensive buildings for Terra. Run around, attack where there isn't an army, attack where there isn't a planetary fortress. So in this case, he sends a couple of Roaches into the 3rd. Catches the Raven there, very nice. And he's making more Corruptors because he sees the amount of battle cruisers he's up against. He's going to need all of those. And there you go. Okay, so he just swarms over. Although Special's got his 4th base up, Serral now is going to move from here into the natural. So Special knows he's out of the game. Alright, I hope that helped. So just make sure when you're playing Zerg to balance, the most important thing about Zerg is that balance between unit production and worker production. You want to make as few units as possible to defend against whatever your opponent's going to be doing. But that requires you to scout. And I'm saying this even though I don't do it. So don't watch my games. Alright, I'm not a good example. I'm a terrible warning. So, you know, do the things I say in this video, not the things that you might see in my gameplay videos. Anyway, yeah, I hope this has been useful. Just a little bit of a helper. I know this is good for me as well because I'm taking in-depth looks. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe to the video if you want to see more. I'm going to try to do one of these a week for each of the different races, different types of build orders and everything. But yeah, I hope you found it useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.